Hi everybody, thanks for joining me here at the Underground. I'm going to try to do this video. My throat's a little scratchy still and my shortness of breath is still coming and going, but I found out some information that was just bothering to me. I wanted to share with you guys. It's to help you maybe get prepared, not panic. I'm not trying to spread fear or scare anybody, but here we go. So first of all, about 4 months ago, and I'll link the video in the description, I did a video more or less talking about economic crisis, and I want to briefly read to you some of the things I mentioned in that video. And I was, like I said, I was more or less at this time talking about an economic crisis, which we still are in and facing. The government doesn't want us to know when the economy is going down or when something bad is happening, like a crisis. They try to mainly, hide the bulk of the information from us because it could actually make them look badly. It could really reflect negatively on them and actions they have taken. So they manipulate things and hope we don't notice, and they try to distract us with different narratives. Like, I feel like right now these cash payouts, which we'll get into later, are part of the distraction. So many people are worried and focused on that. That's the only thing they're really, paying attention to. So when things go bad or explode out of control or the economy completely crashes, they can say it was a black swan event. It came out of nowhere. There's nothing we could have done. No one could have seen it happen. No one could have predicted it. I went on to say how they don't want us to be prepared because the more caught off guard we are, the easier it is for them to take control of things, just like people needing these cash payouts. So, when we're caught off guard, then they can step in and save us and make it look like they're the heroes. And for the masses, this works. But in the meantime, with all the chaos and distractions going on, they can make laws and change things that they couldn't do in normal times, like take our gun rights away, certain issues like that. And like I said, this was a video I did 5 months ago, kind of talking about this and, asking people to get prepared because you never know what's going to happen. So then I find this article today about our governor of Pennsylvania, Tom Wolf, and pretty much what it said is, when Wolf declared a disaster emergency, he triggered part of a state emergency management law that vastly expands the governor's power. They include everything from ordering mass evacuations to limiting or outright halting liquor and firearm sales. So, that's kind of scary in itself. But then it goes on to say, it says, and if the coronavirus cases continue to multiply, the Democratic government could also limit the travel, order these evacuations, and even commandeer private property to cope with the public health crisis. So commandeer private property, what does that mean? Are they going to commandeer private businesses to set up temporary hospitals? Does that mean if you have a bulk of supplies that they could come in and commandeer it and say it's, to benefit the public health? That's pretty scary. And that's kind of what I was talking about all them months ago in that video. When there's all this chaos and all these distractions going on, nobody's paying attention. And it's easier for them to manipulate laws, cut corners, and twist and turn. Now, they already have us separated. So if they start doing this, or say banning guns or firearms, for us to protect ourselves, we can't even get together as a community to try to defend ourselves or protest because of the, social distancing and these laws that they're putting into place. So these are very scary times, and I kind of just wanted to mention a few of these things because, these are things they should be talking about nonstop on the news, but they're not. They're not going to tell you till they actually have to enforce these, laws. And what really worries me is, today I just watched the president's update, I guess, on everything that's going on. And he pretty much said that if they didn't do what they have done, which he made clear 100 times they've done a fantastic job, by the time this is done, over 2.2 million people would die. And what that tells me is they've been repeating that number, 2.2 million. Not infected, die. They keep repeating this number like they have really bad expectations for the future. So if they keep saying 2.2 million would have died and now only 1.5 million dies, then they could come out and say, look, we saved over, 700,000 lives by taking the actions and doing what we did. It's kind of like suggestive programming. And by them always saying this higher number, when a lower number comes out, which is still completely outrageous, most people won't pick up on that. They're going to be like, wow, they saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Now, I'm not knocking anybody. This is a really hard situation, and it's really hard to take care of. But we're the most infected country. How can you say you did a good job when that's the outcome? And that's just my point of view. I'm not saying they're not doing decent things and some smart decisions, but I think they came a little too late. For us to be the most infected country in the world, that tells me they've done the worst job out of all the other countries. And as far as these shutdowns go, and this is just my area, maybe yours is different, and I'm sure for some people you are out of work. But where I live in Pennsylvania, when they first announced last Thursday, or the Thursday before, whatever, the mandatory business shutdown of non-essential businesses, the next day every business in, my area, Erie, Crawford County, Franklin County, was shut down. Everything. By that following Tuesday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days later, every business I know was back open and operating. And they keep saying how everything's shut down. Now, once again, I'm not saying that, a vape shop employee might not be at home or, a little small business here and there. But I don't know one shop that is shut down. I don't know one person right now that isn't going to work because of a shutdown. I know people that aren't going to work because they're showing symptoms or they're sick, like including myself, but my company's up and running. We even had an infected person there. They never did anything to clean the area, and they got people working there, back to work, and what's even crazier is everyone's acting like the whole area is shut down, but it's not. It's almost like, and I hate to sound like a conspiracy person, but it almost sounds like they're just saying that to say it. If you're not in Northwest PA and you see them saying on the news and everyone talking about a shutdown and mandatory shelter in places, you think everyone's stuck at home and nobody's working, but that is not the case. The only people I know that aren't working are people that are sick or showing symptoms. So I don't know what's going on, but I really feel with the things they're saying, the numbers that they're suggesting out there, that this is going to get even worse than any of us could imagine. Now, of course, I hope not. And, of course, I pray for the best. But I'm preparing for the worst. And it's pretty scary because, you don't know what that is. Alright, so I wanted to read you, paraphrase through a couple other articles I read today that came out, yesterday and today about what's going on in Pennsylvania and this ongoing crisis. So pretty much what it says, Wolf, who's our governor, has shut down schools in Pennsylvania, put counties in lockdown, and said he could even order businesses to shutter their doors. Such are the powers of the Democratic government, has since declaring a disaster emergency on March 6th. So they declared a disaster emergency on March 6th, I guess, here in Pennsylvania. But what really caught my eyes on the heading of this article is he could even order businesses to shutter their doors. Now, if you look up what the meaning of shutter the doors means, it means board them up. So why would they order a business to board up its doors and windows unless they're expecting things to get a lot worse and things not to open for a while? Now, it doesn't mean he's going to do it, but once again, that suggestive programming is what worries me. Them starting to mention things like this and put them out in articles, what it tells me is they do things like that so when it happens, people are caught off guard with that wow factor. It's like, oh, I read about that. We talked about it on a YouTube video. And the average person, just overlooks it. So I don't know, guys. Maybe I am just being overcautious, but this is really starting to worry me. And I know we've talked about, and other people have talked about, there's probably another narrative involved in this. And I agree. Whether it's the economy is going to change as we know it, maybe we're going to have a new US dollar. Who knows? But there's a lot of things going on out there just besides, this virus that we really need to be paying attention to and looking outside of the box more than normal. So, there's a few more things in these articles I just wanted to mention. And it basically goes on to say that, we don't know when the surge is going to be. They're trying to track it, and they have different models that they're trying to use to do this because, it's so new and they know so little about it in the future and, how it works. It's hard for them to get an accurate model. Like, they go on to say how some of them don't take into account the weather and dense populated areas. But it goes on to say that from the University of Pittsburgh, their computer platform called FRED projects that the patient hospitalization will peak at 100,000 in the state of Pennsylvania. And that was reported Friday by the Post-Gazette. There are very scary numbers, and one thing I hope is to impress upon the people that this is very serious. Mark Roberts, director of the Public Health Dynamics Lab at Pittsburgh Graduate School of Public Health, told the news outlet, social distancing is seriously important, not only for yourself, but for the rest of the community. That is at least the one thing you can do. And it goes on to say, the number of new cases continue to grow exponentially, and the deaths from the disease have begun to accelerate from 2 to 22 in less than a week. And they're just talking about right now in the state of Pennsylvania. So, there's a lot of scary stuff in these articles. It goes on to say, anywhere from 255,000 people in this state alone could die if they don't take certain actions and predict people from getting sick and stop, these hospitals from being overwhelmed. And that's what they're trying to do right now. But who knows? And that's all I'm saying, guys. There's a lot of shady stuff going on out there. There's a lot of scary stuff going on out there. So we got to make sure we look outside the box. We keep our heads up and stay on top of our preps. Keep topping them off. And be cautious on where you go, who you're around, and how you spend your money. I'm trying to think of that because as of right now, I am spending, paying, and buying different things based on the uncertainty of the future. Who knows, and I think within the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're all going to have a lot better idea. But by that point, it might be, getting better or completely out of control. So like I said, I'm just being very cautious on what I do. We're definitely staying at home, and I'm trying to keep on top of my preps, which is extremely hard right now because I don't want to go out and be around people, and B, things are becoming limited at times. So, I don't know, everybody. I just kind of wanted to mention a few of these things to you, get them off my chest. I hope everyone out there is staying safe. I hope all of you are taking this very seriously, regardless where you're at. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And our government can act like they do, but they definitely don't. And the fact that they're talking about declaring and actually doing these national disaster declarations and, limiting our rights is very scary because if they can force us to evacuate, commandeer our property, and pretty much tell us where to go, America as we know it is over. I remember a while back I saw a few YouTubers were following these, random FEMA camps they were building out in the middle of nowhere in America, off the grid. And why were they doing that? That's kind of creepy. And if I don't even have to put a link down there. If you Google, off the grid FEMA camps, there's going to be videos popping up left and right. So it's just pretty scary, guys. I don't know. This might. I don't know. Life as we know it might change on the other side of this, whether it's economically or all around the general. So I don't know, guys. I'm just trying to be prepared and help other people be prepared. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I just want you guys to have an open mind and don't believe everything you hear and see on the TV. Look a little bit further than that and actually pay attention to the numbers and the things they're saying, because these things matter. That suggestive programming is definitely a very scary thing, and it, shouldn't be overlooked, that's for sure, because it happens and they know what they're doing. They are specialists at manipulation, at control, and at what they do. I mean, they are the government. That's pretty much what they do. And the whole job of a government isn't to look out for the people. It's to survive. That is their goal. That is a government's job. It's to survive. So that's their main goal. And of course, they're going to appear to be helping out the masses, but that's not their number one objective. They keep talking about this economic package that's $2.2 trillion. And if you look into it a little bit more, it's actually $6.2 trillion. And $4 trillion of that alone is going to the banks. And only 350 million of it is coming to us. That's it. So they might seem like they're helping and bailing us out, but no, they're not. It's not. I mean, yeah, they're giving us a little bit of money, but I mean, what's $1,200? I mean, it don't even pay most people's rent. But yet, the banks are getting $4 trillion. So I don't know. There's a lot of shady stuff going on, behind the scenes, and you can't just print money. You can't just make value out of nowhere. It's going to end up hitting the streets hard and really devaluing the money that we do have. So I really see things spinning out of control, and all I got to say, everybody, is please take this serious. Please think outside the box, and please, everybody, keep prepping. Stay safe out there.